People in the financial sector, and the banks themselves, and the regulatory community, with some exceptions, but the consensus among them is we've done very well, we've got to a good place. The opinion of economists outside that group, again with some exceptions, is wait a minute, you know, you're not even halfway there. We should be going a lot further. For such a big public policy question as how safe to make the banks, to have these different groups, both sort of expert groups in some sense, you know, a long way apart is itself quite an odd thing. I feel that the economist group have much the best of this argument. I think there's some very low cost, even free insurance to be had out there by, over time, gradually, not in a sudden way, building up those equity buffers. And then the odds of another severe crisis would be reduced. You can never say never, but if and when the next one hits, we'd be better placed to withstand it. The question here is the proportion of shareholders funding, equity funding, in the funding mix of a bank. What minimum percentage should that account for? Even after all the reform efforts, big banks can still go 30 times leveraged, or the very biggest perhaps 25 or so. Now the academic view is, well, wait, you shouldn't be going more than 10. This is way too much. One of the lessons for economists is we need to think much more carefully, and it should be in the mainstream thinking about the financial system. I chaired the ICB. We had a dilemma on this issue because we felt that the global baseline, global regulation was not strong enough, but we were making recommendations, of course, just for the UK. And there's a limit how far one country, even a sizable one like the UK, can go above the global baseline. So our recommendation was for the British retail banks, and with retail there's less of a risk of all the banks migrating somewhere else. We wanted quite a significant chunk over and above the global baseline. But at the same time, we would have said that the global baseline itself, you know, should have been way higher, but of course we didn't have a say in that decision.